Are you sick and tired of using a primary that does absolutely no damage to any enemy in the game in higher tier content? I am, and because I am sick and tired of my primary being absolutely useless, I am going to use what the cool kids call the toaster. This one's for you, Chubby. So sit back, get a nice bag of popcorn, maybe some Lay's chips or some hot Cheeto puffs, and enjoy the show or the explanation of a build. You get the point. So basically, before I actually go in depth into each different section of this build, what I want to actually go over first is why we're using the Jotunn and what our main objective is. So basically, we're not using our primary. We're only using our primary to actually deal with champions if we're going to be going into those heavy or higher tier activities, but mainly we're only going to be using the Jotunn. We have mods and specs on our armor to make it so that we can constantly spam our Jotunn over and over again and never run out of ammo due to a mod called Extra Reserves and other fusion rifle mods that keep our ammo up, but I'll go over the mods later in the video. First thing that I want to actually go over is the skill tree as well as the Verity's Brow and how it actually correlates with the Jotunn. So first things first, Verity's Brow. Energy weapon kills grant death throws, which provides a bonus to the damage of your grenades and grant you grenade energy. When you have death throws and throw a grenade, I'm so sorry if I'm saying that wrong by the way, nearby allies gain greatly increased grenade regeneration for a short time. So basically, every single time we get a Jotunn kill, we're going to be getting stacks for our Verity's Brow. Once we get the 5 stacks, our grenade is going to do significantly more damage, and if we're playing with teammates or have other teammates on our fire team, then they are going to get increased grenade regeneration as well. Not to mention that every single time we get a kill with our Jotunn, we're going to be getting some grenade energy back. Now, along with getting that grenade energy back with the Jotunn, due to Verity's Brow armor perk, we are also using bottom tree void devour. So every single time we get a kill with our Jotunn, when we have devour procced, we will get a fat stack of grenade energy. It only takes around 3 to 4 kills to actually get a full grenade back, maybe even 2 if you're lucky. This is with 100 discipline, mind you. And our devour is almost always up. There's hardly any points of which I'm playing with this build that my devour isn't up. It's extremely easy to get proc, and you get an insane amount of grenade energy even without devour up, just due to Verity's Brow. Now moving on to the Jotunn, there honestly isn't really much to go over with it. It's a fusion rifle that's really a grenade launcher that has a massive kick to it. It packs a huge punch, and I just got it, so I want to use it. So that might be the reason why I'm using this, be the reason why I'm making this video, but hey, who cares? For our other weapons, they don't really matter all that much. For our primary, you can use whatever you want. Just use whatever you need for like overload, champions, barrier, unstoppable, whatever it is that you're dealing with, or just use something with demolitionist maybe to get your grenade back if you don't actually end up getting it back with your devour stacks, which is highly improbable. And for our heavy, I would highly recommend using something void just because of the perk that I went over earlier, Extra Reserves. You need void for it. I'll go over it in a little bit, like I said, but just try to run a void heavy. For me, I'm either going to be using my Tomorrow's Answer or my Falling Guillotine depending on the activity. If I need to deal with overload, then I'm 100% going to use a sword, even if it is extremely inconsistent. But anyway, let's move on to stats. For stats, I would recommend speccing into either discipline or recovery, or both if you actually can. I unfortunately cannot because my armor sucks as always, but if I were to choose one over the other, if you are also in the same situation, then I would highly recommend going into discipline rather than recovery. All the other stats are personal preference. You can run them if you want. They're not necessary in any situations. Resilience is always nice though, just to make you a little more beefy so you don't get killed as easily, but other than that, everything else is up to you. And finally, moving on to mods, the main event. Basically, fusion rifle, fusion rifle, fusion rifle, fusion rifle. Everything that we're using is for our fusion rifle and actually getting Charge of Light and dealing damage with our Jotunn. So first things first, I'll go over the main mod, Wrath of Rasputin. So first things first, with the mods, I'll go over the main mod, which is Extra Reserves. Now what this actually does is while Charged with Light, defeating combatants with void damage grants a chance to drop special ammo. This effect consumes all stacks of Charged with Light. The more stacks you have, the higher your chance of gaining the ammo drop. If you have 1 to 2 stacks, 3 stacks even, the drop chances is very low. It's honestly pretty inconsistent in most cases, so I would honestly recommend trying to have charged up as well as supercharged for some extra mods, which make it so that you can have either 4 stacks of Charged with Light potentially, or even 5 stacks potentially if you have supercharged and charged up with 2 different pieces of armor. So just keep that in mind. Extra Reserves, no good 1 to 3 stacks, but it is good with 4 to 5 stacks. It's decent with 3 stacks actually. But anyway, moving on, how we're going to be getting Charge of Light to actually use the Extra Reserves use is Quick Charge. Become charged with light by rapidly defeating multiple combatants with fusion rifles or shotguns. I was a little worried that I wouldn't become charged with light super easy with only Quick Charge, but as I was using it in PvE content, I was getting charge of light extremely easily. So using Quick Charge is just fine by me. If you want to run something else as well to actually get more charge of light stacks, by all means, but I don't think it's necessary at all. And finally, the last two charge of light mods are Wrath of Rasputin. This is mainly only for our Jotunn. Nothing else that I'm using is solar. Only my Jotunn is going to be proccing this. So what this does, solar splash damage final blows have a chance to create Warmind cells, and to actually top that off to give us some more ad clear, we are also going to be using global reach. Warmind cells you create, affect, and damage targets at a greater distance. So along with our Jotunn, we're going to be relying on our Warmind cells to do some massive ad clear for us too. And that is actually it in terms of the charged of light mods. For the other mods, like I said many times, it's just a bunch of stuff that actually benefits our fusion rifle. For our helmet, we have fusion rifle ammo finder. For our gauntlets, fusion rifle loader. For our chest piece, fusion rifle reserves. And for our boots, fusion rifle scavenger. And the last mods that I am using are bomber, which reduces grenade cooldown when using your class ability. We just have that as an extra precaution if we need our grenade back. And honestly, I would even note that you could run momentum transfer as well if you really want to. Causing damage with a grenade reduces your melee cooldown. And that is it! Deep breaths. Oh my god, I did that all in one take. Alrighty, that is it. That is my Jotunn fusion rifle setup. It is extremely fun to use. Please use it. It is so much fun to use, and I hope everyone else has a chance to try it out if they can. If you have the Jotunn and you're sub to me and you play on Warlock, I'm ashamed of you if you do not try this. With that being said, my next video will most likely either be another Warlock video with the no time to explain because someone commented it on my last video, or it will be a Titan video. It depends on how I'm feeling and what class I want to play, to be honest. I've been loving my Warlock though, like so much. In Crucible, in PvE, everything. I love my Warlock so much right now. But yeah, I will leave it at that. Enough rambling from me. I'll see you guys in the next video. And as always, I love you all. Thank you so much for your support, and peace.